Your input matters. That's a message from the Charlotte City Council members as we look live over Uptown from our Arlington camera. So this week, Charlotte residents, they have the chance to attend 2 virtual webinars on the 14 new Charlotte Future 2040 community area plans and revised policy maps. Well, the Planning, Design and Development Department set up the webinars, and so residents had an opportunity to be able to learn more and share their feedback. So here to tell us more on how things went, Mayor Pro Tem Dante Anderson. Thanks so much for being here with us on Queen City News. And we got you on such a great day. So many things to be able to talk about. We'll see what we can get in on this time. But for right now, these webinars, how did they go?
You know, they went relatively well. It wasn't as great of a turnout for the webinars as we wanted. However, we have set up multi-pronged touch points for residents to provide feedback. So we've had staff go to neighborhood meetings. You can schedule a one-on-one meeting with staff. I've had a couple of neighborhoods in District 1 to do that. And overall, we've had over 900 comments on the community area plans. We've had 50+ workshops, and we've touched 6,500 residents. So people have insight to what's going on, and they've had the visibility. But we need more. Charlotte is such a huge city. We want more residents to provide feedback.
Yeah, because it seems like some of the issues get out and then they become controversial. And so like one of the things that you're seeing within the plan is the allowing of duplexes and triplexes to be built in areas where it's zoned for single family homes. I mean, you can see on both sides why people would be concerned. Is this their time to voice their opinions on issues like that so you have more feedback?
1,000%,
Okay.
right? So as a part of the UDO, we know that we were trying to provide opportunities to increase density.
Okay.
Because we need mixed housing stock. We hear how housing is so expensive. We need to create more affordable housing stock. So duplexes and triplexes do allow for that densification in a smaller footprint, but we want to make sure we're protecting the character of neighborhoods. So that's why we need those residents to come out and provide their input. I've actually seen within District 1, some residents have said, hey, we want increased density on some things that we're doing. And then we've seen it on the other side as well, where they're saying, hey, no thanks.
Right.
But this is really the time to provide that input.
Speaking of input, we got you on a day where CMPD just released their mid-year briefing. Right now, they're saying crime is down. Were you, when you saw this report, were you surprised by anything?
No, you know, actually not really, because CMP does a great job. They're very strategic in highlighting those areas, those hotbed areas where crime is bubbling up and we see repeat offense. What we experienced over the weekend with the situations uptown was you had a situation where you had repeat offenders, and the judge actually said this when they were before them, who have been in and out of the system multiple times, conducting a crime in a very crowded area. But that is, I won't say an isolated incident, but it's a reduced incident. So when you look at crime overall in Uptown, Uptown is a safe community, but of course, if one person gets shot, it's not safe for that one individual. Right. It's not safe for those individuals who are impacted by it, whether through physical harm or trauma. So we have to continue to do more to address that.
What do you say to looking at the response of, hey, we're looking at city council as the problem? What's your response to that?
Well, I think anyone who follows what council has done, they'd be hard pressed to say council doesn't care about crime. Right? We have set aside millions of dollars to address violence prevention program. We've set aside millions of dollars to stand up youth empowerment programs as well. We actually just commissioned a youth empowerment office that will be a part of the city. So we've dedicated the time, the resources, and everything that's needed. But here's what I will say: we need help. We can't do it alone. CMP can't do it alone. We need the residents to help out. We need those businesses in particular. We're looking at Uptown. We need to make sure that the security protocols are proper for when people are out Thursday through Sunday, to make sure there's a security presence to augment CMPD. And then we need our nonprofit organizations to help out as well. What we're seeing is our youth are creating and participating in these activities. And so we need to help our youth by standing up programs, by doing violence prevention,
Right.
and by giving them other options.
From the webinars, that happened this week, what were some of the biggest things that came out that you felt like maybe I didn't know that?
So the interesting thing about the webinar feedback is you have some pockets of Charlotte where you have neighborhood advocates who are really into this information. They understand those legacy programs around their neighborhoods, and then you have other residents who are just busy and they're not as familiar. And so you'll have some very interesting questions around what does this even mean for my neighborhood? Tell me about what a community area plan really means. And then you'll have some really strong responses. I have a leader in the historic Cherry community who provides some really strong responses around how does this new area plan fit with the legacy plans for Cherry, and how can we ensure that there won't be additional gentrification, right? And that we can continue to grow as a mixed neighborhood and honoring the legacy of that neighborhood. So what's been surprising for me is that swath. You'll get really deep questions, and then you'll get some questions that are just like, hey, tell me, what does this really even mean?
Right. Mayor Pro Tem Dante Anderson, we appreciate you being here. Speaking of questions, we have so much more to be able to tackle. So we're going to actually take this conversation to our Queen City News Plus streaming so you can be able to see more on this conversation. So we appreciate you being here in studio. For
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.